Welcome back to True Crime Stories, delving deep into the heart of darkness that lurks within humanity. Today, we uncover a case shrouded in mystery, set against the deceptive calm of suburban Australia. Our focus is a crime scene that tells the tale of a life cut tragically short, where the pursuit of justice begins with more questions than answers. In this episode, we explore a chilling investigation that unfolds from a seemingly serene home-turned-crime scene. In the serene backdrop of Australia, two distinct lives commence their journeys, unbeknownst to each other, setting the stage for a future entwined by fate and tragedy. Born in 1973, Adrian Basham entered the world into a family with a law enforcement background. His father, a policeman, instilled in him from an early age the values of discipline and order. However, despite these influences, Adrian displayed early signs of aggression and a temperament that leaned towards confrontational behavior, traits that, over time, would define the darker aspects of his personality. Conversely, in the summer of 1980, Samantha Fraser was born into a nurturing environment in the suburbs of Melbourne. Her parents, Janine and Travis Fraser, were committed to her well-being, ensuring she received a well-rounded education and opportunities to explore her interests. Excelling in academics and sports, particularly gymnastics and acrobatics, Samantha's upbringing was marked by encouragement and support. Her academic pursuits led her to study psychology at a prestigious university, where she graduated with distinction, driven by a deep-seated passion to help others. Samantha's career as a psychotherapist began soon after her graduation, quickly establishing herself as a respected and empathetic professional. Her ability to connect with her patients and colleagues underscored her dedication to her vocation, reflecting her inherent kindness and sociability. The paths of Samantha and Adrian crossed in late 2005, in circumstances that brought them together in a social setting. Initially, their relationship was marked by a platonic friendship that gradually evolved into a romantic involvement. Observers of their growing bond often expressed curiosity about the dynamics of their relationship, given their contrasting dispositions. Samantha's openness and ability to navigate conflicts peacefully stood in sharp contrast to Adrian's more abrasive and domineering nature. In spite of these differences, the couple decided to unite in marriage approximately 18 months after their first meeting. The ceremony marked the beginning of a new chapter in their lives, one that saw them settling in the suburbs of Melbourne. Adrian's professional life involved working for a company in the mineral extraction sector, a role that required him to travel frequently. This aspect of his job meant that he was often away from home, a factor that, in hindsight, may have contributed to the longevity of their marriage during its early stages. The couple welcomed 3 children into their family, daughters Jemima and April, and a son named Rex. The arrival of their children was a source of joy, yet it did not mitigate the challenges that gradually surfaced within their household. Adrian's behavior at home increasingly reflected a need for control and an intolerance for deviation from his exacting standards, extending to mundane aspects of household organization. As the years progressed, the facade of domestic bliss within the Basham-Fraser household began to show cracks, revealing a turbulent undercurrent that would eventually lead to an irrevocable schism. The initial periods of Adrian's absence due to work-related travel had provided a temporary reprieve from the brewing storm. However, the true extent of Adrian's controlling and volatile nature became increasingly apparent with time. The first significant incident of physical abuse occurred in 2014, marking a turning point in Samantha and Adrian's marriage. Despite the gravity of the situation, Samantha chose not to report the incident to the authorities. Her decision was influenced by a combination of hope for change and the desire to maintain a semblance of familial stability for their children. This period of silence reflected her inherent optimism and her professional inclination to seek peaceful resolutions. The cycle of abuse, however, repeated itself in 2015, shattering any remaining illusions of a harmonious union. This second incident compelled Samantha to take decisive action. She filed a report with the police, detailing the abuse, and subsequently moved to her parents' home, seeking refuge and support. This move signified her refusal to tolerate further abuse and her commitment to her and her children's safety and well-being. The legal proceedings that followed culminated in the couple's divorce in the spring of 2017. The court's decision awarded custody of the children to Samantha and granted her ownership of the family home. This legal resolution, however, did not deter Adrian from continuing his harassment and attempts to exert control over Samantha's life. Post-divorce, Adrian's behavior escalated from personal confrontations to legal and psychological harassment. He moved into close proximity to Samantha's residence, a tactic that served to intimidate and exert pressure on her. His actions during this period were characterized by a blatant disregard for the legal boundaries set by the restraining order obtained by Samantha. Friends and acquaintances of Adrian reported that he had expressed intentions to reclaim everything he believed he had lost, including the family home and custody of the children. These threats extended to ominous insinuations of physical harm. In response to the continuous threat posed by Adrian, Samantha took measures to fortify her home against potential intrusions. The installation of an alarm system, surveillance cameras, and reinforced security measures reflected her growing concern for her and her children's safety. Despite these precautions, she confided in friends and family about her persistent fears, a testament to the psychological toll inflicted by Adrian's relentless pursuit. Amidst the turmoil, a glimmer of hope emerged in Samantha's personal life. She embarked on a new relationship, finding solace and companionship in the aftermath of her tumultuous marriage. This new chapter was marked by tentative plans for the future, including the prospect of remarriage. Her 38th birthday celebration in July 2018, attended by close friends and her new partner, Wayne, was a momentary respite from the shadows of her past. The joyous occasion, however, was marred by a foreboding call the following morning, alerting her to Adrian's presence near her home. This call rekindled her fears, setting in motion the events that would lead to the tragic conclusion of Samantha Fraser's life. The unraveling of the harmony once sought by Samantha culminated in an atmosphere of fear and apprehension, overshadowing the fleeting moments of happiness and hope for a new beginning. July 23, 2018, commenced as an ordinary day in the life of Samantha Fraser, but it was destined to become a pivotal point in a tragic narrative. The day followed the celebration of her 38th birthday, an event marked by joy and the company of loved ones, casting a temporary veil over the lingering fears and threats that shadowed her existence. The morning routine unfolded with Samantha engaging in her customary activities, including taking her children to school. It was a day like any other, filled with the responsibilities and routines that characterized her life as a single mother and professional. However, an unsettling phone call disrupted the normalcy of her day. An acquaintance, aware of the turbulent history between Samantha and her ex-husband, Adrian Basham, informed her of his sighting in the vicinity of her home. This information, while not entirely unexpected given Adrian's history of harassment, reignited Samantha's apprehensions about her safety and that of her children. Despite the foreboding warning, Samantha resolved to proceed with her day, opting for caution but not allowing fear to paralyze her actions. She had commitments to fulfill, including her professional duties as a psychotherapist, a role that she approached with dedication and a genuine desire to aid those in need. Her last known communication was a conversation with a close friend, during which she voiced her concerns about Adrian's potential retaliation, especially in light of the upcoming court proceedings related to the domestic violence case she had initiated. This conversation underscored the constant undercurrent of fear that permeated Samantha's daily existence, a fear that was unfortunately well-founded. Samantha's failure to return for her children from school that day set off alarms. It was an aberration from her established routine and a stark deviation from her character as a devoted mother. The school's decision to contact the authorities was prompted by the knowledge of Samantha's precarious situation, marking the beginning of a grim discovery. Upon arriving at Samantha's residence, law enforcement officers encountered a scene that initially suggested a possible self-inflicted harm. Samantha's lifeless body was discovered in the garage, suspended in a manner that, at first glance, could be misconstrued as self-inflicted harm. However, the details of the scene quickly unraveled this initial assessment. The condition of Samantha's body, coupled with the surrounding evidence, painted a harrowing picture of violence and struggle. Injuries and abrasions suggested a physical confrontation, and the disarray within the garage hinted at a desperate struggle. The presence of an overturned stepladder next to her body and the peculiar length of the rope raised immediate questions about the authenticity of the self-inflicted harm narrative. Forensic analysis revealed more damning evidence. Under Samantha's fingernails were traces of someone else's DNA, suggesting a violent altercation. The incongruity of her attire and the absence of her shoes further contradicted the notion of a premeditated self-harm scenario. Surveillance footage from the exterior cameras, installed by Samantha as a precaution against Adrian's intrusions, captured the image of a man hastily departing the scene, his identity obscured but his intentions suspect. The subsequent investigation meticulously pieced together the timeline of Samantha's final hours. The evidence coalesced into a narrative that starkly contrasted with the initial impression of self-inflicted harm. It became evident that Samantha Fraser's demise was not a matter of self-infliction but the culmination of a calculated and brutal act. The investigation delved deeper into the timeline of events leading up to Samantha's tragic death. Phone records, witness statements, and the digital footprint left by Adrian painted a detailed picture of premeditation and malice. Adrian's actions in the days preceding the incident, coupled with his known animosity towards Samantha, positioned him as the primary suspect in the ensuing murder investigation. Adrian Basham's apprehension and subsequent interrogation were marked by a notable absence of cooperation. His initial strategy of silence, however, began to crumble as the weight of the evidence mounted against him. The discovery of Samantha's blood on his motorcycle and personal belongings, alongside the corroborative testimonies of witnesses aware of his threats against Samantha, eroded his defenses. The trial that ensued was a painstaking process, extending over several years, during which the depths of Adrian's animosity and the extent of his premeditated actions were meticulously examined. The prosecution presented a compelling narrative, supported by forensic evidence, eyewitness accounts, and the undeniable digital trail left by Adrian. The defense's attempts to attribute Samantha's death to a spontaneous altercation or to suggest the possibility of her taking her own life were systematically dismantled by the overwhelming evidence to the contrary. Central to the trial were the testimonies of Samantha and Adrian's children, who bore witness to the aftermath of their mother's death and their father's subsequent actions. Their accounts, coupled with the expert testimonies of forensic analysts and behavioral specialists, painted a chilling portrait of a man driven by control and vengeance. The conclusion of the trial saw Adrian Basham found guilty of premeditated murder, a verdict that brought a somber sense of closure to a case that had captured the attention of the public and the media alike. The sentence handed down to Adrian was life imprisonment, with no possibility of parole for a minimum of 30 years, a reflection of the gravity of his actions and the irreversible loss inflicted upon the Fraser family. The investigation and trial of Adrian Basham stand as a testament to the complexities of human relationships, the darkness that can reside within, and the relentless pursuit of justice in the face of unimaginable tragedy. This chapter, while closing the legal proceedings, opens a broader discussion on the imperatives of recognizing and addressing domestic violence, the importance of community and familial support systems, and the enduring impact of loss on the fabric of family and society. What are your thoughts on the sentence delivered in this case? Do you feel justice was served? We're eager to hear your perspectives on the outcome of this investigation. Your insights not only enrich our discussions but also help us all understand the complexities of the justice system and its impact on the community. If this episode has sparked your interest or stirred your emotions, please share your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget, if you found this exploration into the depths of true crime compelling, show your support by liking this video and subscribing to our channel.